The Lost City is a story about Loretta, who is a romance novelist played by Sandra Bullock, who is on a final book tour for potentially the last novel that she writes. And in doing so, she is on this book tour with the cover model that she has, Alan, played by Channing Tatum. And with all of this happening, she ends up getting kidnapped by some rich guy who realizes that most of the material that's in her book actually may be true, and now they are tossed into the jungle to see if they could find what they are looking for. When I saw the poster for this movie, I didn't necessarily think it was going to be like a blockbuster, sort of like, it just, in general, I just didn't think it was going to be great. I looked at it and I was just kind of like, oh, it just kind of looks like a cash grab type movie. I'll throw two good looking actors on the screen. You know, you got Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, then that'll be the driving force of this movie. And it is, in a sense, yes and no, but I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. For starters, I think that the two main characters that are being played here by Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum have really good chemistry. I thought that they played off each other really well. I mean, I did like the empathetic sort of stuff that you get from Sandra Bullock's character, because she is a widow in this and she's still trying to cope with it even though time has passed. And she's kind of over this whole like novelist scenario and she just wants to be left alone, whereas Alan is like the cover model of these books and it's like, you know, important to him in that sense, but he also kind of likes Loretta in the same way as well. So it's like it's an interesting dynamic between the two, and then you learn the more history between the two characters and like more backstory, and I honestly I enjoyed it. They played off each other well. The jokes landed for the most part. I would say about maybe 80 to 85% of the jokes in this movie landed pretty well, but most of that is like Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum kind of going back and forth, and that stuff really hits in this movie. Another character in this movie that I really enjoyed was Brad Pitt's character, Jack Trainer. This guy is awesome. I highly recommend the movie just for him alone. It was great to see. Brad Pitt is a fantastic actor, and he's actually starring in a new movie very soon. I think it's called Bullet Train, and this just makes me want to watch that even more. But what I will say didn't land 100% for me in this movie was Daniel Radcliffe playing the rich character that is Abigail Fairfax. He's fine. I mean, like, the menacingness about the character in this movie, like the whole sort of aura of the character, didn't always land. I think that it just wasn't the correct role for him. And while he did kind of bring it home in the end a little bit, it takes a little bit to get there. And like, he doesn't invoke this like fear almost that you would out of someone like, let's say, the character from Uncharted, the rich guy from Uncharted. That guy, albeit they're kind of different stories obviously, so it's not 100% comparable, but the fact that like they're both like rich guys trying to find some sort of treasure by having the aid from other people, like the menacing look and like the behavior of the guy from Uncharted works a lot better than Daniel Radcliffe tried to do in this one. So I'll say he did fine in the role. It wasn't like the best portion of the movie though at all. And that kind of leads to like some pacing issues, I feel like, as well with some of these characters too. There is a section between the movie where it's ending its second act and kind of transitioning to the third act, kind of getting towards like the wrapping up portion of the movie. And there is a good portion of time where I was like, this didn't need to really be here. This could have been touched up a little bit more. Just felt like runtime-esque stuff. And I just checked the runtime on it. It's 150, it's an hour 52 minutes. So there is stuff that they could have cut potentially, especially the character in this movie named Beth, who is like the person who's in charge of like the book tour, who is like Loretta's sort of like agent in a way. And I don't know. I just thought that, she just didn't bring anything interesting to the story, and they spent a good portion of time with her, and most of her jokes didn't work. So it was just kind of like one of those things where it's like I'm kind of waiting for the movie to kind of speed along with this because I'm more interested in Channing Tatum and, Sandra Bullock trying to get to this tomb that they're, figuring out, while running away from Daniel Radcliffe. And really, I think that falls under the direction a little bit in this movie too. So they have issues with that, but they also, in my personal opinion, I just didn't like some of the scenery at times in the movie. There are some like heavily CGI'd backgrounds that give a weird glossy feel, like they don't 100% feel realistic. And I know that is a difficult task at times to do, is to find certain places that invoke this sort of like magical, sort of mystical jungle experience. But for whatever reason, this time it felt really glossy. It didn't feel authentic at times. But either way, I mean, I thought that this movie was really fun. It surprised me in a lot of ways. There is some heartfelt moments in here that I thought were earned for the most part. I thought that most of the jokes landed. I think that the story is continuously going at a decent rate, although could have, done some better touch-ups here and there. But if this is just a movie that you want to see, kick back, have a fun time, and not really go into it thinking that it's going to be like this Marvel Avengers Endgame type of sort of, you're not going to get this from this movie. You won't. But if you're looking to have just a, 2 hours, waste my time, just watch something fun, I highly recommend it. I'm going to give The Lost City 3.5 stars. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. I'm actually going to start working on getting a video together where I review a couple movies in one video. There have been a lot of movies that have came out recently that I kind of missed. So I'm thinking about doing a potential Turning Red, the new Texas Chainsaw movie, and X all in one video, just to kind of give my quick thoughts on those, just so I can get that out there. Plus, I still need to watch that Peacemaker show, so there is still a lot of stuff to talk about in the near future. Oh yeah, and Morbius comes out soon. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to trash. I'm not going to lie to you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to y'all next time. Take care.